Picture this. It's 1649. A king, crowned by God, draped in royal authority, kneels before his own people. No foreign invaders, no Viking raiders, just Englishmen, farmers, merchants, even his own soldiers, waiting for the executioner's axe to fall. One arrogant smirk from Charles I had lit the fuse, and what followed was nothing short of apocalypse. The English Civil War, families torn apart, brother fighting brother, and over 200,000 dead, more than the Black Death had claimed a generation earlier. And at the heart of it all, Oliver Cromwell, a Bible-thumping country squire who clawed his way from obscurity to become the man who shattered the monarchy, crushed his enemies, and ruled Britain as its first dictator. This wasn't just politics. This was a nation devouring itself, where loyalty meant nothing, betrayal was everywhere, and the price of choosing the wrong side was death. Buckle up. We're diving into the English Civil War, the bloody revolution that gave Britain a republic and killed a king to get it. Part 1. Setup. All right, history rebels, welcome back to the channel where we crack open the wildest showdowns of the past. Today, we're time jumping into 17th century England, a kingdom primed to explode. At the center of the storm, King Charles I, tall, awkward, stammering, and utterly convinced he was God's personal VIP. Charles believed in the divine right of kings. Translation: he answered to no one on earth, not his subjects, not Parliament, not anyone. In his eyes, those uppity MPs were just peasants who didn't know their place. But here's where things get messy. Charles was blowing through money like confetti, funding endless wars, building lavish palaces, and ignoring the fact that the royal piggy bank was bone dry. His solution? Illegal taxes. Ever heard of ship money? He forced coastal towns to cough up cash for a navy they barely saw. People were furious. And then the marriage. Charles tied the knot with Henrietta Maria, a French Catholic queen, in the middle of hardcore Protestant England. To his subjects, this wasn't romance, it was betrayal. Whispers of popery filled the streets. Distrust ran deep. By 1629, Charles was so fed up with Parliament's complaints that he dissolved it. Gone. Vanished. For 11 years, he ruled alone like a royal solo act. But eventually, the money dried up. The Scots rebelled, and Charles had no choice but to call Parliament back in 1640. Big mistake. Parliament struck back with the Petition of Right. No taxes without consent, no forced loans, no martial law. Charles signed it, then tossed it aside like yesterday's gossip. Tensions only grew hotter. Finally, in January 1642, Charles snapped. He marched into the House of Commons with 400 armed guards, demanding the arrest of his enemies. But the MPs had slipped out a back door. Charles had humiliated himself and sent a crystal clear message. The kingdom was divided. Trust was gone. War was coming. And it wouldn't be king versus parliament anymore. It would be brother against brother, neighbor against neighbor, England against itself. Part 2. The war ignites. Early chaos. Boom! October 1642. The English Civil War erupts. Lines are drawn and the kingdom splits in two. On one side, the royalists or cavaliers. Picture silk sashes, feathered hats, and gleaming swords. They're loyal to the king, backed by countryside nobles, bishops, and traditionalists clinging to the old ways. Think party crowd with a cause. On the other side, the parliamentarians or roundheads. No frills, no feathers. These are stern Puritans, city merchants, reformers, and godly zealots with bowl-cut helmets and fire in their eyes. Serious, disciplined, ready to fight for Parliament and the people's rights. The first clash comes fast. The Battle of Edgehill, October 23, 1642. A foggy field in Warwickshire becomes the stage. 26,000 men packed together like a human mosh pit. King Charles rides out himself, decked in royal pomp, while his dashing nephew, Prince Rupert, takes command of the cavalry. Rupert unleashes his horsemen in a thunderous charge that smashes through the Roundhead left like glass. Pikes splinter, muskets roar, cannon shot rip the air. In just hours, more than 1,000 men lie dead, their bodies heaped like cordwood. But then, the twist. Instead of finishing the job, the royalists hesitate. The parliamentarians limp away battered, but alive. The result? A bloody stalemate. Edgehill is no victory, just proof that this war will not end quickly. London reels in panic. Families cram wagons, fleeing south as if the apocalypse has come. Across England, sieges and skirmishes flare like wildfires. Royalists dominate the north and west, while Parliament clings desperately to London in the east. The war is chaos, with no clear winner. But in the shadows, a new force is rising. A 42-year-old country squire from Cambridgeshire. Not a noble, not a general, just a devout Puritan MP with iron faith and a sharper sense of discipline than anyone else on the field. He begins with a small troop. Farmers, craftsmen, neighbors, men he drills into what he calls his Ironsides. They're not in it for loot or plunder. They pray before every battle, fight with cold discipline, and hit harder than Rupert's flashy cavaliers. Cromwell's motto spreads like wildfire: trust in God and keep your powder dry. These men will change the game, and soon the war will never be the same. Part 3. Turning Point. Naseby and Cromwell's Rise. Fast forward to 1645. The Parliament is on the ropes. Losses pile up, morale's tanking, and the royalists still look unstoppable. But then comes a revolution in war, the New Model Army, Cromwell's masterpiece. 20,000 men, drilled, disciplined, and, most importantly, paid on time. No favoritism, no aristocratic amateurs, just hardened professionals in red coats, fighting for God and Parliament. It's the Avengers of the 1600s, except with pikes, muskets, and iron discipline. The showdown comes at Naseby, June 14th, 1645. Northamptonshire awakes to a misty dawn as 15,000 Roundheads square off against 10,000 Cavaliers. From a hilltop, King Charles surveys the field, smug as ever. His secret weapon? Prince Rupert, the king's dashing, reckless nephew. Rupert charges, cavalry thundering like a storm. He smashes Parliament's left, brilliant as always, but reckless too. He chases fleeing scouts miles from the battlefield, leaving the royalist center dangerously exposed. Cromwell sees his moment. From Parliament's right wing, he unleashes 3,000 Ironsides, farmers turned fanatics. Riding like a wall of steel and faith, they crash into the Cavaliers like a wrecking ball. The royalist line buckles, musketeers pour lead, infantry holds fast, and the battlefield becomes 4 hours of hell. Screams, smoke, and slaughter. When the dust settles, 6,000 royalists lie dead or captured. Parliament seizes the king's baggage train, and jackpot, Charles's private letters. They expose plots with Irish Catholics, secret pleas to Spain for troops. For Parliament, it's propaganda gold. For Charles, it's total humiliation. Naseby shatters the myth of the king's invincibility. By 1646, Charles is reduced to hiding in the Scottish camp, stripped of power but not of ego. He double-crosses everyone, cutting shady deals with the Scots, sparking a second civil war in 1648. Uprisings flare across the kingdom, but Cromwell's new model army smashes them with cold precision. Then comes the Purge. December 1648. Colonel Thomas Pride, acting under Cromwell's shadow, marches into Parliament and boots out 140 moderates at sword point. What's left is the rump Parliament, hardliners ready to put the king himself on trial. Cromwell is no longer just a commander, he's the hammer of God, Parliament's enforcer and Britain's puppet master. In London, royalist holdouts are crushed without mercy. In Ireland, Cromwell unleashes terror, The massacres of Drogheda and Wexford 1649, thousands slaughtered in the name of God. Hero? Tyrant? Fanatic? Dictator? That's for you to decide in the comments. But one thing is certain, Oliver Cromwell has risen from a nobody in the Fens to the most powerful man in Britain. Bible in one hand, sword in the other.
Part 4. The Bloody Endgame. January 1649. King Charles I, once draped in divine authority, now sits a prisoner in Windsor. His fate sealed not by foreign invaders, but by his own people. The Rump Parliament puts him on trial for high treason, not against Parliament, not against the nobles, against the people of England themselves. The charge is simple and damning. You declared war on your own kingdom. Charles refuses to bend. He stutters through his defense, proud and unyielding. I am your king. No court can judge me. His words echo with defiance, but the verdict is already written. January 30th, 1649. Outside the banqueting house in London, a scaffold rises in the snow. A crowd of 2,000 gathers in stunned, frozen silence. The king steps forward, calm but pale. The execution block is set too low. He has to stretch his neck across the wood. He whispers a prayer. The executioner, hooded, raises the axe. One swing. Eyewitnesses would never forget it. The king's blood spurted 3 feet. A groan rose from the crowd as though the world itself had ended. The executioner holds Charles's head aloft for all to see. No cheers, no triumph, just gasps of horror. Across Europe, kings and princes recoil in shock. Regicide? The murder of a crowned, anointed monarch? Unthinkable. But in England, the monarchy's gone, the crown shattered, a republic declared. For the first time, the people believed themselves free. Or so they thought. Part 5. Aftermath and Legacy. Cromwell rules as Lord Protector from 1653, a military dictatorship with Puritan perks. No Christmas, theater shut, adultery means the noose. He dies in 1658. Chaos follows. By 1660, the monarchy's back. Charles II, the merry monarch, parties like it's 1625. But the scars? Permanent. No more divine rights unchecked. Parliament's power locked in. Seeds of modern democracy watered in blood. Echoes today? Power grabs, echo chambers, leaders versus the people. Sound familiar? The English Civil War wasn't just old news, it's a warning label on crowns. Conclusion. So hero or tyrant? Did Cromwell save England or scar it forever? Let's hear your take in the comments. If you loved this deep dive, hit like, smash subscribe, and ring the bell so you don't miss our next battle. This was the English Civil War, where crowns fell, faith burned, and a king lost his head. Until next time, keep your flags high and your powder dry.